Yo, what's poppin'? So there was no NA review yesterday because my power was off for 8 hours, and there's no NA review today because I was cleaning my apartment. And the games are pretty mid anyway. They're like all 3-0s. So, and I'm about to do an assignment as soon as I finish this, probably. So happens, but pretty sure there's two 3-0s in the last one. Toronto, Boston, and Boston are like collapsing. I'll probably make a video about Striker and Marvel leaving the team. Right after this, I might do that actually, but um, whatever. Here we have the APAC reviews from this morning. A little late, but that's whatever. So starting off, Guangzhou Charge, who were 1-1, beating Philly and losing to Chengdu against the Philadelphia Fusion, who beat Shanghai 3-0 on the opening day. So Philly ended up winning this 3-0. Oasis is 2-0 Philly. Charge playing Develop, Choice A1, Rio, Unique, Faraway, Carpe, Zest, Belostria, Aim God, and Fixa. I'm just gonna do here are the comps. You can see them. Well, no, I won't do that. Soldier, Genji, Winston, Lucio, Ana against Soldier, Tracer, Winston, Lucio, Ana. So pretty similar comps, just a Genji for the Tracer. And I'm just gonna read the summary. Rio's dying a lot first, all the time, and for it's just from like poorly chosen engagements, and Philly aren't really hard focusing him or anything. But he's just trading his life poorly, jumping in, getting a pick, but you're trading like a tank for someone, and it's normally not worth it. Uh, so yeah, it's just poor positioning, poor cooldown management on Rio's part, and the Charge make the map kind of close off of choice I want to develop, along with some pretty good ult rotations. But Philly overall is looking pretty great and looking pretty dominant as we expect. Moving on to University, same compositions with the Tracer versus Genji. Rio continues to do inting, just straight inting basically. And this map, the Charge don't find any wins off of the DPS. And Zest is an absolute menace on this map. He's constantly in the backline. He's just living every fight, just living in the backline. He's making it their home. He's charging them rent for their backline. He's doing so well. So moving on to Eichenwald, which is 3-1 for Philly. MN3 comes in for Carpe, and Fury comes in for Belostria. On the offense, Philly play Widow, Genji, Fury, Lucio, Ana. But the Widow quick turns to Reaper after like a shot, and charge running Ash, Genji, Winston, Brig, Ana. Philly had a quick start on first, but the Charge hold out on second for a pretty good chunk of time. And MN3 is getting picked early in a number of these fights, sometimes in a row. Philly do a questionable rotation, like they sprint, like they take the fight, and then I think MN3 dies or something, and the Zarya and the backline end up moving over to third point, but then charges go back and they die. So I'm not sure what that rotation was supposed to be. And the Charger using alt rotations pretty well, but eventually Philly break through with a Nano Blade, and Rio goes for a recontest, but as he jumps through the window, he's off by like a few seconds or like a few moments. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was very close. Moving on to charge up. Well, close isn't he almost touched, not close isn't like the round. Because Philly ended up capping like the third point with like pretty easily. Charge offense. We have Soldier, Genji, Winston, Lucio, Ana against Ash, Echo, Fury, Brig, Ana. World class gameplay from both Zest and MN3, with Zest maybe being a world classier. Fury goes down first in the very first fight, and then that happens like again on first. But Zest and MN3 turn the tide. Oh my god. My apologies. Yeah, Zest and MN3 turned the tide. Eventually the charge went off with Fury going down early again, which I mentioned. And this time Zest doesn't clutch up despite he gets a copy. He copies Genji and he gets like 3 with Nano, including an Ajax onto Unique. But it's not enough, and he cannot like 1v5. So yeah, it's very, very close to doing it though. Zest is playing very aggro on the Echo pick, going into their spawn a lot. Sometimes he's getting caught, but the rest of Philly and MN3 make up for it basically. And multiple times MN3 is coach gunning Rio whenever he tries to jump into the high ground like a diva boop would, and you've seen that forever, but he's doing it so consistently and so much that it's really impressive. And Charge do manage to win a fight off of Rio hitting a good primal. With Rio primals, I'd say everything else about his monkey was pretty chill, but his primals were pretty clean overall. And I was kind of a fan, but that's the only thing. MN3 swaps over to Cassidy and he gets nanoed and he kills 4, and then Philly end up winning the map. Moving on to Watchpoint Gibraltar. Belosria comes back in for Fury, being a monkey map. We get Widow, Winston, Brig, Ana mirrors with Charge playing Genji on the defense and Echo for Philly on the offense. Unique is focused on early, and Zest continues to do huge things. He's just doing crazy stuff. Philly capped first, and they managed to take that momentum all the way through second. Like, just fight, 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 win, win, win. And they enter third with like 4 minutes. Develop finally stops the Philly momentum on Widow, and he gets some good picks, and he holds them up for a bit, but eventually Philly do cap at the map with 1:30. And then for the Charge offense, mirror compositions across the board this time, with Widow, Genji, Winston, Brigana. Zest is continuing to play very aggressive as he was throughout this whole series, and Belosria is just holding like that first corner to stop any push from happening. So they have to focus on him for a second to get him to move out. And Philly's just holding very well. There's a time where Zest Nanoblade, or Zest just blades, no nano, just a raw blade, and Develop gets nanoed to save him, and Develop's not looking at him at all, and he just picks MN3. Just ignores Zest entirely, and that was cool. But Philly win the map and hold there. So overall, Philly is looking dominant. And Zest is playing hyper aggressively, but it's working very well. And I hope he continues to do that, and I hope it works out well against good teams. Because although he's playing very aggressive and he's getting punished by Charge, him playing so aggressive allows MN3 specifically to do things, and so does Fury, I suppose. So very good, very fun gameplay to watch. MN3 is also playing very well, and he's making the smart plays like the coach gun and stuff like that. The Philly DPS really stole the show overall. Rio was getting punished very hard, and I'd like to say he's improving, but I don't think he is. And it's not even like if Philly's forcing mistakes, he's just kind of making them, it feels like. So, not great. His prowess look good, so there's that. Charge are just winning off of their DPS, popping off every few fights, and Rio getting primal, which does look good. The player of the match for me goes to Zest, who hyper aggressive playstyles, just getting a lot of value. Legit, half the fights were like highlight reel plays, and whether it be on Tracer, Echo, or Genji, he's finding big plays, and he was doing a lot. Moving on to Seoul versus Chengdu. Seoul losing to the Spark, and I don't remember. Oh wait, they lost to the Spark and they beat Valiant. What happened? And Chengdu are 1-0 up on Charge, and Seoul just 3-0 Chengdu, which is not something to be confident about. I don't know why I have this on. Leave this on. I'm not listening to anything. Okay. So, yeah. Starting on Ilios, Seoul playing Prophet, Fitz, Smurf, Creative, and Vindame, and Chengdu playing Jinmu, Leave, Daisy, Monk, and Nisha. Seoul doesn't make any changes throughout this match, and Chengdu swap out Daisy for Gaga at some point. On Well, we have an Echo, Ashe, Zarya on a Mercy mirror. Interesting, because we don't see all the teams opt for Mercy, but both of these ones are. I did not summarize this, so hopefully this is decent. Smurf immediately jumps up to the lighthouse, and Daisy also does it, so both the Zaryas are meeting on the windmill almost. So that's very interesting, and Daisy is creating a lot of pressure up there, and he forces Smurf down eventually, and he's getting good pressure and kills. Prophet's on Echo, and he tries to avoid damage from coming in, and he ends up floating off the map, and Chengdu get the cap. But it's very back and forth, and Chengdu are edging out in most of these fights. Nisha getting a huge res on Daisy at one point. Smurf grabs and it flips a point. But Smurf, next fight, I guess, Smurf dies to the grab and Bob stops the flip until Bob is out of there. And it's very back and forth in a very close map, but Chengdu come out on top. So this was a 2-1 win for Seoul. I did not do that, but there it is. And the Leave Ashe is doing a lot of work. Moving on to Ruins. Fitz is looking to assassinate Leave, and he doesn't find any success on the Sombra. I should preface this in saying Soul is playing Reaper, Sombra, Zarya, Ana, Lucio, and Chengdu are playing Genji, Widow, Zarya, Ana, Lucio. And the Fitz Sombra is not inspirational. It is, I don't know about this pick. They keep bringing it out. It keeps doing nothing, but it keeps coming out. I guess it's not doing nothing. It's winning. It wins this map, but it's not the one. It is not the one. We'll end up capping, but they lose the fight. So, at what cost? Chengdu are looking to fight in a small room versus a Reaper. It does not work very well. Beat stops the grab, and Profit on Reaper does big damage, and Leaf swaps over to Soldier. Chengdu flip. Jinmu Blade does work. Smurf grab doesn't do enough work. It finally uses an EMP late into the round, and Soul win the fight off it. So, it looks good there. Profit trades for Smurf's. Wait. Prophet dies, but takes out Smurf. Not sure how that happens, and so win the fight. This is probably Daisy, but whatever. I wish I did a summary for this. I do the summary for the other ones, so that's just unlucky. Maybe I was eating at this point. I think it was. I don't remember what I was eating. Somewhere. I got hungry, bro. I had to get my shreddies. So, Lighthouse. Still taking control of the point, forcing Daisy down. Oh, I gotta talk about the comps. Solo running Tracer, Soldier, Diva on a Brig, and Chengdu are running Echo, Ash, Zarya on a Mercy. So the Diva pick coming out from Smurf. Very interesting. We've seen Diva on this point before by a few teams in NA and some teams in APAC, I think. Can't remember though. Anyway, Soul take control of the point, forcing down Daisy and not allowing him to get much value. Nation swaps over to Brig for Mercy. Leaf goes down the Fitz early, and it looks like Chengdu should just end up winning, but Smurf barely stays in mech, and Soul win after just using only Pulse Bomb. Both teams throw ults at each other. Chengdu comes on top, and now it's overtime. Soul run at the point. Nisha dies at the start of rally, and Soul end up running over Chengdu. So let me do a quick, try and remember the summary of this map. Well was very close. Ruins was also pretty. All of these were pretty close. Looked like Chengdu were gonna end up. Definitely could win some of these. The Diva pick, I think it was pretty good. Diva much better into both Echo and Ash than Zarya. Zarya can't do anything to either of them. And Diva can obviously eat the Echo stickies if Fitz were to get the Echo low, then you can go up and mess with it. You can dive the Ash, you can eat the antis. I'm a big fan of Diva against these two specifically. So and whenever these two get paired together, I'm kind of surprised we don't see more Diva. But I do like Diva into this matchup and on this map where you can easily access the high ground, but it's not so far away that you can't get healing from your Ana and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. I would say the Soul DPS definitely diffed the Chengdu DPS throughout this whole series. But on this map, just a little bit. They do diff them more in the future, but that's it. So anyway, we have Eichenwald, which was a 6-3 for Soul. This was a very fun map. No substitutions. We have Soul playing Genji, Widow, Winston, Ana, Lucio on the offense, and Chengdu playing Jinmu on Mei, Soldier, Zarya, Ana, Lucio. So the Jinmu Mei comes out, which is a surprise to most people. Fun. Right. So, Soul is almost full hell on first, capping overtime just before speedrunning second and third to cap in overtime. But Jinmu Mei swaps off after first. But on first, he's acting as a sort of off tank, and he's perma watching the flank beside the bridge, and just walling people off and zoning them with their ult or with his flamethrower of ice. And the way it works differently than Reaper from what I'm seeing is it lets you hold your ground whenever you ice block. Whereas Reaper, whenever you Wraith, you have to leave or you will die. But the ice block lets you sustain and hopefully your team can come through and save you while you're exerting, well, after you've maybe put up an ice wall and stuff like that. So I thought that was very good, and it works out for a long time, but he doesn't bring it back on the second time round. But I do hope we see it more. I like that look. It's pretty cool. Soul is a monkey comp, and it's looking really bad, and it's looking super uncoordinated, and they're committing with alts far too often, and it looked really bad, but they end up capping out first. I forget how. I probably just assume it was profit because it's profit. So um, Chengdu were speed running first. Uh, on their offense, they're speed running first. Oh, this is when I was eating, I think, because I don't do this table for the other offense. So this is when I'm having my shreddies. So shout out to that. Uh, Chengdu ends up speedrunning first, and then they're getting held on second for a while, and it's because they weren't really moving the cart. There was a time where they were winning the fight, and they used a bunch of ults, and they won, but someone was sitting on the cart, or they just forgot about it, so it gets stuck like at the first corner, and by the time they get it moving again, any decent progress, Soul is all back. Fitz gets a 3k Helix, which was crazy to watch. And what wins second for the Hunters is they end up using beat just across from the gate from first into the castle on second, and that's it. And it was very odd. The sound barrier was literally just used for a rotation. That nothing else happened. No other fighting. Uh, it was wild. But they end up getting the positioning. There's like a nano visor that goes off, and they end up winning. And after that, Soul just like crumble, and Chengdu end up capping it out in overtime. So both teams end up capping in overtime fully. So Seoul have 1 minute on the offense, but they take legit 30 seconds to decide what they want to run. Smurf starts it on Zarya, then he goes Winston. Or no, starts it on Winston, then he goes Zarya, then he goes back to Winston or something. And I was like, oh my god, you just wasted half your time bank, but it did not matter. Because his profit is going crazy on them, and so is Fitz. It was crazy. I don't even know. Like it was just a roll. Like they did not lose a fight, right? They full capped at 6 points, and profit was going crazy. Smurf was like everyone was going crazy. Vin Dame was looking good. I was questioning Vin Dame after his first two maps or first two series. He looked solid here for sure. And yeah, Chengdu was just flailing around. Profit doing so much. Fitz doing so much. Chengdu really should have won a fight on third. They had 3 more ults, and they used them all ults, and they got no kills off it. And it's because Prophet ended up killing 3, one with a pulse bomb, the other 2 just with raw gaming prowess. Prophet is the GOAT. Like actually, he is here. He's not taking games off so far. And Chengdu ended up getting full held, and it looks like they're gonna get past first. But Fitz does not die, and he's just shooting and pelting bullets. And then he ends up doing a ton of damage, and Prophet comes back, who did die, but he comes back and he cleans up all the damage. So, like a 2v5, probably, something crazy. So the Soul DPS doing their part and doing it well. Moving on to Dorado, which I'm sure I'll figure out what that was. It looks like yeah. So Soul are running Tracer, Soldier, Winston on a Brig on Chengdu's offense. And Chengdu running Hanzo, Echo, Zarya on a Mercy. Creative hits a huge nade, and the Smurf and Prophet clean it up in the first fight. And then Prophet kills Nisha and Jinmu, and then he kills Monk, and he kills another 2, and he's killing everyone. He's unchecked. He is just smurfing on them. It's actually looking like a top 500 Tracer in a gold lobby. He is not getting looked at. He is running them all over, just killing everyone. And his damage numbers must have been like 15k per 10 easily. Like he was doing so much work, and no one was doing anything. Jinmu swaps over to Genji, but it doesn't matter. Just no words. It was not. If you want to see the most Smurf moment ever in Overwatch League, this might be it, or at least this season. Like all of Soul were playing well, but Prophet was getting the damage in. Like he was going crazy. So Soul's offense, they have to push it like the like 5 feet. I don't even know. It was like below Big Earls, I guess. And Monk does work, but Leaf gets 3 and trying to win the first fight. And that's great. But Fitz lives, and he ends up behind Chengdu on second, and then he pulls up, he gets a pick on Nisha, and then Soul went. I don't think Chengdu knew he was back there, and then he just pulled it at the after party, and that was that. So, overview, very close on Elios. And the Fitz Sombra, they win the map, not the one though. Smurf Diva is cool. Leave being the Chengdu hit scan player, it does not sit right with me. He's great at hit scan, definitely one of the best hit scan players still, but I feel like you don't want to be working off of Jinmu's hero pool alone, and Jinmu doesn't really have a tracer on him, so it's forcing your hit scan player to play tracer, so you cannot play tracer and a hit scan at the same time, which is not great at all, right? And it just it's not great. You really want a hit scan player on Chengdu that's not Leave, so that Leave can do can play what he wants to play and can do what he thinks is gonna carry more, right? Right now he's locked in. He's like, oh, I have to play Ashe, I have to play Soldier, but it's really sad that he doesn't. I really hope they find a little bit of money under the mattress, sign a Prita back. They got it like unless they're content with being a bottom three team in APAC, I think they're gonna have to. So we'll see. The Jinmu Maeve was pretty cool. And overall, Eichenwald was like a nightmare at the start for Dynasty. They almost got full held, but then it turned into a daydream as they steamroll on their second offense. It was, I said Dorado. This was not Dorado. This was Route 66. That's why it was so hard for me to picture things. This was Route 66. That's why I said Big Girls. That's my bad. It's on Route 66 that they're doing. It's not Dorado. Yeah, that probably helps. But Prophet was literally unstoppable on that map and was crazy. Fitz did really well on their Eichenwald. He had a lot of good plays and he's just staying alive a lot and he's finding value off of living. He did it on Route 66. He did it on Eichenwald. He's just gonna. That's just how his playstyle is. Just if you live, you get more value. So it just works. Vin Dame played much better than the previous two series. There was no noticeable anything. There were great beat timings. If he plays like that again against maybe a better team, I have no real questions about Vin Dame then. But as it is right now, I'm still not entirely confident. That's just because of the strength of the competition that is Chengdu right now. And Monk and Leaf played well for Chengdu, but other than that, I wasn't really feeling it for most of their players, really. They played awful with Gaga in, but I think that wasn't really on him. So I don't really know what else. There's nothing else to say about Chengdu, really. So, Jonathan player of the match. It's got to be Prophet for literally being a freak and the best Overwatch player maybe in the history of the game. And it was crazy. I don't know, that was bizarre. Moving on to a banger of a series, surprisingly, the Hangzhou Spark playing the Los Angeles Valiant. Hangzhou getting their wins over Seoul and losing to Shanghai, and Valiant losing to both Charge and Seoul. So Lijiang, we get Spark playing Shy, Alpha Yi, Guishui, Irony, and Super Rich, and Valiant playing Dia, Becky, Sasin, Lengza, and Coldest. Yeah, so this map was a 2-0 for Spark. Or no, 2-0 for Valiant. Get that in. Alpha E gets picked early on the Echo and then immediately swaps to Pharah. Oh, I didn't say the comps. They're running Soldier, Echo, Winston on a Mercy on Gardens. The Sparker and Valiant's running Soldier, Genji, Zarya, Lucio, Ana. Alpha E's getting picked early and then he swaps over to Pharah right away. And Valiant take the cap. So we've seen this before with the Alpha E on Pharah, and he does the exact same thing. He wins the fight. Guishui is looking decent right now, and Alpha E goes right into their spawn, playing on that super off angle. However, Becky gets a Nano Blade and it gets 2. But then Alpha Yi and Guishui just trade backlines, and Spark end up winning that fight. Becky swaps over to Tracer now. Dia Nano Visors with N, and him and Becky combine for 3, and Valiant take the point. Super Rich, this is where it gets a little weird. Super Rich dies like 2 times in a row or 3 times in a row in a fight, and he dies. Spark wait, and then he falls off the map somehow, and then they wait, and then Sasin barrages without his mercy, or no, Alpha's barrages without his mercy. And he trades for Sasin. And I don't know. Dia had a big showing to close out that map. I didn't even read down here. I was reading up here. Oh, I'm so dumb. Yeah, so whether Zarya or Diva, I'm not sure about the Pharah because you're not getting any sort of protection when you're barraging or anything, and it just isn't great. But Dia was doing big work, and Gushue looked alright, but he didn't look spectacular this map. So now we move on to Control Center. We have Spark playing Reaper, Tracer, Winston, Ana, Lucio, and Valiant playing Reaper, Maze, Zarya, Lucio, Ana. Spark Dive did not work out very well on this. The Valiant is rushing down their target that they're choosing, and it's just not great. And Sawson's getting huge value on the Zarya pick, and it looked really bad for Spark, and they just lose 100 to 0. I think maybe not 100 to 0, maybe they got a cap in there, but it was not great. There was nothing to dive really. Who are you diving? The Ana is the only person you're diving, but they have the peel tools, they have the melee, they have the Reaper, the Zarya. It really did not look good, and I don't rate that on Control Center, at least this variant. We're going to King's Row. Burner comes in for Gushue. Sparks offense, they're running Soldier, Echo, Zarya on a Mercy. Valiant running the same thing, except for a Brig over the Mercy, so only Alpha Yi will get the pocket, and Becky will not. Shy's looking really good, despite Spark losing the first 3 fights, and Becky is playing pretty sneakily, kind of waiting for Alfie to go in and then coming from behind and trying to get him. But I remember one time he had like a 6-stick, but he just gets bubbled, so it's whatever. Spark ended up winning first, and they make it through second pretty easily, and they use less alts in their fights, and they're winning them. Becky swaps over to Reaper now, and Lynx swaps over to Lucio. Valiant wins some early fights on third. Dia and Sasan are doing pretty well. Super Rich swaps over to Brig. And then for the final fight that lets Spark cap it, Alpha copies the Genji, and all of Valiant sort of kite back. And it lets Spark kind of take angles and take good positioning and push the card up, and they kind of win off it. Alfie doesn't even get the blade, but all of Valiant just back up and leave. So yeah, Valiant's offense. We have Soldier, Genji, Zarya on a Brig mirrors, and 2 neutral fights result in Valiant taking second or entering second, and neither team is using ult yet. So you don't normally see that. You normally see the offense have to expend an ult or something, but it doesn't happen. Spark holds Valiant for choke for a long time. And the Valiant are playing super slow, and they're not finding value off the ults that they're playing slow for. Like, I don't know, the Grav isn't getting things, the Nano Blade's not getting as much, and Dia can't really pop off if he's spamming down a choke. So it wasn't great. Super Rich dashes out from a blade. He baits the dash and he just leaves, which looks really funny to me. Valiant eventually break through with a grab and a blade, but the last fight on second is on overtime, and they just kind of don't work. Becky goes in fast with Nano, but Bernard finds a big grab, and the Spark are able to hold out on second. So that's a 3-1 win for Spark with Bernard in. And we'll notice something very quickly here is that Gushue does not win any maps and Bernard win all of his. And Gushue has not won a map the entire weekend. So not great for Gushue and the Spark is that they cannot win with their guy in, who always has so much hype and so much praise, but he's just not getting it done this season. I'm one of Gushue's biggest fans, and I do not want him in. Do not let him come in. Do not do it. It was a very close. It was a very quick map. It's a 1-0 victory for Valiant, and on Spark's offense, they're running Widow, Genji, Winston on a Mercy against Ashe, Widow, Diva, Brig, Zen. So yeah, you get the Diva, Ashe, Widow pick from Valiant, which is no hill season at its best. He was cooking it up. This is what he was cooking up for 12 hours, maybe. Is the double hit scan Diva comp. And Val basically give the push until choke for free. They don't really fight in that like starting area that you see a lot of teams take small engagements in, or at least kill any time. But they don't give any more. They don't let them get anywhere near the choke. And Shy, like Spark are playing for Shy to get picks on Widow, but it's not being fruitful. It's not where like he can't really take any angles, especially into a double hit scan of Ashe and Widow. And Spark aren't making any space for him, and he doesn't have the best angles against the double hit scan to try and get any picks. I don't remember if they make it a second or not, actually. Regardless, Valiant win this fight pretty easily. Uh, I can't remember if they make it to second. I feel like they do, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Valiant are held for a while on their offense, but eventually the Val backline find their way into a small room. And I should say that Spark are running Widow, Echo, Winston on a Mercy, but Valiant are running the double hit scan, Diva, Briggs in again. As Han swaps over to Soldier and the Alpha U swaps over to Genji. Shy gets a pick, but Sauce and Bear. Oh, this is on second. So Spark actually do get to second. They get it right under the bridge, I remember. But they barely make it out of first point and second overtime. And it doesn't look great. They maybe want to fight after that. Maybe Shy wants a fight for them. I don't really remember. But wasn't great. The Valiant offense held for a while. Back room. Shy gets a pick. Saucen buries him over. And the end, Saucen gets more kills. And Spark dive, and it gets oxygen, and they end up winning. So it's pretty light work for Valiant on this map. And Gushwei not looking great. Spark has a team looking much better with Benarin for sure. Moving on to Coliseum. This is map. What map is this? 4. This is map 4. Bernard comes in for Gushwei, and Becky comes in for Ezhan. Or Easy Han, as they were saying on the cast. Spark playing Soldier, Reaper, Zarya, Ana Lucio, and so are Valiant. So Valiant won the first fight, and Spark all run into Becky. Valiant won the first fight, and then Becky's like off on like a weird flank, and Spark all run into him, and he just kills them all in a straight line. However, Valiant just ignore the point; they don't get any push for it, so it doesn't really matter. They just trade small charge for Becky all charge. That's whatever. And then Spark come back, and after a fight, they catch up to Valiant and take the lead. But because it's push, and of course it's push, so they go back and forth, pretty even fight. Like you're not constantly pushing on push, right? And Valiant takes the checkpoint first eventually, and the Sparkers end up running out of time, but they end up winning some fights with no casualties in the Coliseum, and it means that they can get to the checkpoint and take the lead, and in the end the map. So winning that fight without any casualties was huge, and it let them do this basically. The Becky Reaper had some pretty questionable ultimates, and the Alpha Reaper looked very good in all aspects. He had some big flanks under their spawn with a nano or with a blossom or without either, and he was getting a lot of value. So Alpha Reaper going crazy. And then moving on to Oasis. This was a slaughter for the Spark. They do not put in Gushwei. And Bernard keeps his map winning alive. City Center, we get Spark running Soldier, Reaper, Zarya, Ana, Lucio. And we get Valiant running Soldier, Tracer, Zarya, Lucio, Ana. Super Rich in the first fight boops Becky on Tracer into traffic. And Shy kills Lengza, and Spark take the first cap. And they just win 100-0. Dia didn't show up. Spark didn't really give Valiant any room to breathe. They couldn't really get entered. They couldn't set up anything. Yeah, Spark just kept the pressure on them and didn't let them really get close to them in a way that they would want to. Just holding those chokes. And just very, very dominant. Moving on to Gardens, we get a Soldier, Reaper, Zarya, Ana Lucio, a mirror. And Dia makes it to the high ground first, but Shy just beams him down. And after the first fight, Shy has 70% ult to Dia's 20, and it's a little unfair to Dia because he did die first, right? But the next fight, and the next fight and the fight after that, and basically all the fights, Shy diffs him hard on the Soldier. There's a time where Dia had Visor, and Alpha Yi just TP'd onto him and shot him and blossomed him, and he died, and that was very good. But Spark win here pretty decisively. Another 100-0, and they end up winning 3-2. Coming back down from 2-1 against Valiant, which we've seen before yesterday with Soul doing the same thing. And Valiant looking very competitive, and honestly, I think they would beat Charge if they played right now. They had a bad first game, but so did so many teams like the Dallas Fuel, for just to name an example. So the Shanghai Dragons also. So that just happens. But this team will get a victory this season for sure. And No Hill season is definitely real. We keep seeing some interesting compositions, some innovation coming from No Hill, which is great. Double hit scan diva, you don't expect to see it, and you don't expect to see it work very well, or as well as it did at least. Take a map, and great stuff from Valiant. But the spark you have, I'm concerned that Gushwei can't win at anything. He cannot win a map. And the spark looked much better with Bernard, and the game plan when Gushwei is in doesn't really make a lot of sense. You're playing for Shy to get picks into double hit scan with and you're on Winston, but you're not finding any success diving deep, and it's just wasn't it. But the Zarya composition, Spark clearly know what they're doing. They're clearly the better team on the Zarya composition. But as soon as Gooshway comes in, boom, 2 maps gone. Anyway, the Thomason player of the match is going to go to Alpha Yi. I didn't mention him that much in here, but he was consistently putting in work on the Reaper. He was becking Diffy, he was diffing Becky, and he was just making a lot of sneaky plays and great stuff. So yeah, that's it for me. Not sure about the output of videos this week. I'll try and get some out, but there will be no NA review. I'll make sure that I at least watch the highlights of the matches and watch the good stuff. Here there was a shock reverse sweep yesterday that I will check out. And the Gladiators cannot win a game 5, so I'll definitely have to lower them in the power rankings until they can prove that they can actually close out a difficult series. But that's not for right now. So that's it for me. Make sure you have a good one. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, share it to anyone who asks, hey, what happened in APAC yesterday? Boom. Got you, bro. This is what happened right here. Skip to the match that you want to see. 40 minutes, not that bad. Was that like 12 minutes per? A little more. So we take those. And yeah, that's it for me. Deuces.